Isolated severe weather for the Midwest, more flash flooding for the Southeast, fire risk in the West, tropical disturbances, and lingering smoke in the Midwest and now Northeast. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. Today is August 6, 2025. Starting with severe weather, we only have a marginal risk, or 1 out of 5 for the Midwest, and that includes isolated damaging winds and maybe isolated hail as well. In the Midwest region, especially around Iowa, you guys are already seeing remnants of an MCS, or one big blob of storms, and that's going to start dissipating by this afternoon. And there may be a chance that there's going to be a second wave later tonight. But models are in a somewhat agreement that something may pop up around midnight to 4 a.m. tonight. Now, speaking of rain, the Weather Prediction Center has issued again a slight risk for the Southeast, and you guys may see an additional 1 to 3 inches in the next 24 hours. You guys have already seen convection this morning, this afternoon, and it looks like more storms are going to pop up around 4 p.m. Eastern time. Looking at tropical weather, not much has really changed. Dexter is still going eastward and not going to pose a risk at all. There's still really weak low and broad low pressure that's trying to form in the Southeast, and there's only a 10% chance that something's going to form in the next 48 hours. But regardless if something does form, it's going to drift even more to the east, kind of following Dexter's path. So if anything, if you live in the coastal areas from like the Carolinas to the mid-Atlantic, I would watch for one, rip currents, but also maybe some showers and possible isolated flash flooding. For the west, again, we have a critical fire risk, or a 2 out of 3 from Nevada, Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming. And in addition to that, we have an elevated risk, or a 1 out of 3 from Nevada all the way up to Montana, and possibly isolated dry thunderstorms. For the upper Great Lakes and the Northeast, unfortunately, we're still going to have this lingering smoke, but for the next 24 hours, this smoke is going to go away from the Great Lake. But for the Northeast, sorry. Okay, so why this is all happening, if we look at satellite imagery, we can see the convection that's in the Midwest right now, especially in Iowa. And in this area, because of the cloud cover and because of the rain, it's going to cause a cool pool in this area. And with that said, if we look at the surface, we have a low pressure somewhere around Colorado and Kansas. And this is going to be bringing in southeasterly winds, which is going to transport the warm, moist air into the Midwest. And along with that, because of the convection that's happening this morning, any rain that's in the soil or plants is going to help with evapotranspiration, which is going to help with the dew points. So with the southeasterly winds bringing in that warm moist air into the cool pool, it's going to kind of act like a front and bringing in surface lift. But the winds are pretty weak, so we'll see what happens. Now, going back to satellite imagery, if we look at the west, we have complete clear skies, and that's going to help with diurnal heating, more surface heating, which is going to help rise the air over there and help with the mixing. So looking at 500 millibars or midway through the troposphere, we still have that ridge in the southeast, and we have a lot of good shear in the west. And what that's going to do, it's going to help with the sinking and rising motion and encourage the mixing of that area. And we also know that there's going to be dry air aloft coming from the west, but we also can see that there's some moist air as well. And because of the topography of this area, storms may be elevated, which means it's going to be higher up than usual. And when precipitation falls, it's going to be so dry on the ground that the precipitation won't even hit the ground. So lightning is going to pose a risk for fire. And so with all that said, at the surface, with all this mixing, we're going to have relative humidities in the single digits for some areas, but mostly 10 to 15%. And we're also going to have surface winds from 15 to 20 miles per hour sustained winds. And that's why we have